is Sensei Carlos, and we're here today for a Tombo Kai special presentation. Today is our annual event where we host a seminar. We have instructors come in and teach and work with our students. So today I'm joined with a longtime friend and a longtime martial artist, Xian-Ann Kuzminski. So again, Xian-Ann is one of the instructors that have always participated and helped in the Tombo Kai events. So I wanted to introduce her to you guys and just let her tell you a little bit about herself and how she kind of started in the martial arts.
Hi. Well, thank you. Thank you, Sensei Carlos. Well, I started in the martial arts when I was 12 years old, and in a karate system. And over the years, kind of trained in a bunch of different martial arts and made my way towards Jiu-Jitsu in around 1993 or so under Grandmaster Chaka Zulu, and that's what I've been doing ever since. It's a eclectic, self-defense oriented style. We have strikes, we have wrist locks, we have all types of things that you might encounter in jiu-jitsu or karate, but it's kind of packaged in a way to bring out people's creativity in terms of how they move. So we don't really tend to learn prearranged sequences of techniques. We have various exercises, solo exercises and partner exercises and training devices that help us to figure out all the ways we can move our bodies and all the ways that we can like disrupt somebody's balance or find where to strike, or so it's very creative. It was hard for me to wrap my head around initially because no one was telling me exactly what to do. You have to sort of feel it. But I really, it's been very rewarding because I think I was looking for that balance between structure and creativity, and most martial arts are too structured for me right now.
I definitely understand
Yeah.
that. I definitely understand that. So you're going to share with us 3 different martial arts or tools that you use for training?
Yes, I'll do some exercises. I'll share the rope and the ball, and I also brought a ring with me, and I may show some empty-handed exercises that you can use within the rope and the ball, and all of those can kind of turn into partner exercises too. But with the pandemic, you can see that I'm wearing my face mask, so I'm a little cautious about training in person. So it's nice to have these training
tools to be able to train yourself.
Tools to be able, and that's what Master Zulu has always told me. He said, he's always said he doesn't need anybody. He just kind of listens to his music and starts to move his body. And so he encourages us to teach ourselves and also go out and find information wherever we want to get it. He's not at all proprietary about us giving away the secrets or learning from other people.
Right.
And so that's been a real pleasure, is that I don't have to ever hide that I'm training with somebody else or that I'm sharing this. It's meant to be shared.
Absolutely. Now I know you share a lot of the things that you've trained in with distressed communities and what can you explain a little bit of the nonprofit work that you do?
I've been on the board, and I've been part of the National Women's Martial Arts Federation for a long time, since 1992. We have an annual summer training camp on different college campuses. This year we had to cancel it because of the pandemic, so we did it virtually. But starting in karate and other martial arts, I always felt like there was something missing when it came to the self-defense piece for me, because no matter what you do with your body, I'm still socialized to be a woman in our culture.
Sure.
And so women and children are taught to be compliant and polite and to not trust our sense of our own reality.
Sure.
And so there's a lot of that socialization that we need to overcome in order to be able to protect ourselves. So when I started going to these National Women's Martial Arts Federation camps, I became exposed to real pioneers in devising a more holistic model of self-defense that is not just the great physical skills that I learned in my martial arts. And I know we say, well, yeah, but people also learn confidence and all of that stuff, but you know, basically it's also a hierarchical structure where you're deferring to people and so forth, and so it doesn't really teach you necessarily to stick up for yourself in the types of situations where people are most often abused, like where there's a power differential. So with this, what I learned through empowerment self-defense is a framework for understanding violence, particularly like gender-based violence, through a social justice lens, through an intersectional lens, knowing that everybody has a certain amount of privilege and a certain amount of vulnerability depending upon our background. So, you know, as a white woman, I have privilege in being white, but vulnerability in being female.
Sure. But
someone who's like a black, lesbian, is going to have different or gender non-conforming. They may be targeted in a certain way. They may not even be able to defend themselves, be allowed to defend themselves in the way that I can. They may end up in jail.
No, for sure, absolutely.
So it's, it's kind of taking all of that into account and
really tailoring the training.
But tailoring the training and validating the reality of people's lives.
For sure. Super absolutely.
So we see violence as on a continuum from like irritating to life-threatening. So we want to give people tools to deal with it before it gets to life-threatening, because oftentimes someone will be testing you out.
Points of prevention, for sure.
Yeah, testing you, and if you don't like set a boundary right there, it escalates, and that can happen in a mugging or in a sexual assault, or it can happen in terms of a relationship. So we want to teach people the signs of potential violence. And we want to let them know that it's okay to stick up for themselves. It's okay to even be wrong.
Right.
Because a good guy is not going to care if you.
It's better to apologize.
Yeah.
It's definitely better to apologize.
He's not going to care if you're not polite because you're taking care of yourself. But someone who thinks he's entitled to your response, or your. So anyway, so we teach women that framework for understanding violence, and then we teach them a variety of skills for identifying and interrupting violence, like earlier on that assault continuum.
Right.
So when it's at a safer place for them and for the assailant. And we think that this is what will create change, because we're creating like women who feel like they have a right to stick up for themselves, and also men who experience a boundary. So none of that is bad.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
None of that is bad. So we try and raise good boys while we're at it.
That's absolutely true. Samurai say that if you take care of the little things, you never have big things to worry about. So nipping things in the bud is absolutely the best approach. Xianan, thank you for your time. And we'll see you guys on the mat, and we hope you enjoy the demonstration and seminar.
Great. 4. Pull, push.
And I'm feeling this rope and this ball, and I'm staying connected, with him. It's just, if you can imagine, like that's what I can feel this. I can feel like something, so these guys always try and get me to do more on the ground.
This is called the third hand principle. There's always two weapons. There's the stick and your hand. So here, one to the side. I can trap into the arm. He's going to a stick. Drop. Spin around, drop. Okay. Makes all those slow too. I come in, touch the back, and step in the back. Control the round bar. Right? And when I take it to the ground, I just spin backwards and drop it. And the next one, pull, shift.
When I start to center, even more so. So that's you know, the practice with a real person is just like seeing what happens. Now I can also find strikes. There's a throat, groin, you know. So it all sort of comes out of the movement. So the idea is, if I move these bumblebees and move my feet, even blindfolded, I can feel what I'm doing with it. And even if you're not in a style that teaches wrist locks, notice how I'm finding ways to lock up his wrist. So even if I went the other way, you know, and it's just by feel.
Low, 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 low. High, low, high. High, low, high. Low, high, low. Low, high, low. That's up. I feed. You feed. P3. One of the things that Xian and I always talk about, and it's the importance of moving the way that you move.
Yeah.
And moving naturally. If you're trying to copy me, then you're gonna have a tough time because I'm this tall, I'm this wide, I'm this strong. Move the way that you move. This is all about, I keep telling you guys, individual expression. If you're shy and timid, it's gonna show in your technique. The minute you start getting confident, you start moving with it. The minute you start being a little shy with your movement, it starts looking like this. But the minute you start getting comfortable, you start developing strength in that natural movement. And that's why we get along so well.
Oh yeah.
Quick little demonstration for you guys. I wanted to share what Xian does. She's always around. She always participates. So it's an honor to have her, and it's an honor to have you as part of the family.
Oh, well, I appreciate it. Thank you for paying attention and for your interest.
Guys, thank you for summing Xian. Thank you so much. All right, we'll see you next year. We'll do it all over again. All right? Dismiss.